And we're going to now hear from Elisandra. Elisandra is in Brazil. She's a member of Women's Human Rights Campaign Brazil. She's a teacher and researcher in the area of sex education. And we're going to ask some questions about what's happening in Brazil and what Women's Human Rights Campaign are doing. So, Elisandra, how long have you been in Women's Human Rights Campaign Brazil, and why did you join?
I joined in the campaign last year, and I feel happy to be part of an organization which has real preoccupation with the human rights of girls and women. In Brazil, trans activism has gained more and more space, and the erasure of women, as well as the demonization of radical feminists, has occurred not only the academia or political parties, but also within the women's movement. To give you an idea, last year we had elections, and a self-identified man was acclaimed, including by so-called feminist organizations, as the most voted women in the city council. We are very concerned about that. Regarding the organization of Brazilians campaign, we made the option for a simple structure, so we can focus on the real action. We don't elaborate a statute with rules and requisitions, but to make the selection of new members, we always have the preoccupation to verify if they are the same objectives of WHRC and if they prioritize the human rights of women and girls. Initially, our work was focused in the making of social media. We had the preoccupation with elaborating qualities, materials to show the seriousness of our work. We are on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Telegram, where we promote the campaign and denounce masculinist violences and advances on the human rights of girls and women. Currently, we are elaborating a big document about the gender identity politics in Brazil. We already filed a requirement about one of them, the accommodation of males in the women's prisons. We mobilize this topic in a specific due to a court decision that occurred in March of this year that provides that self-identified men can be transferred to the women's prisons. Although this was already happening in some cases, a decision of this magnitude has mobilized us as it puts the safety of all Brazilian detainees at risk. Thus, we filed a representation based on scientific and journalistic articles with the General Attorney of the Republic, requesting that biological sex be the only criterion to allocate a person in a female prison. The representation of the prisons was also forwarded to the Minister of the Supreme Court of Justice, Minister Luis Fux, to the Minister of the Supreme Federal Court, Minister Luis Barroso, Minister of the State for Women, Family and Human Rights, Damares Alves, and the Minister of Justice and Public Security, Ministro Anderson Torres. We also sent a copy of the representation to federal deputies and senators. And on March 2020, we participated in the Women's Virtual Forum NGO CXW 65. In this event, we approached the Article 9 of the Declaration. We learned about the importance of protecting children from early sexualization promoted by queer activism, as well as idea of gender identity that guides children on the path of hormonization and mutilating surgery. At the end of March, a member of our team hid a live on Instagram to comment on the Brazilian actions in ATM and reflect which on really prioritize girls and women. To cite just one example, some leftist parties and associations used March to demand a reduction in the price of rice. In fact, Brazil is going through an economic, political, and sanitary crisis, but not even on Women's Day, the so-called progressive sectors managed to prioritize women. Even though we are the most affected in all aspects of this crisis. We participated in 18M, Be the Voice campaign, organized by some mothers collectives who fight against the sexual violence. May 18 was the culmination of the campaign, alive on Facebook with all participating press conferences. WHRC Brazil members spoke about the importance of protecting the legal definitions of girls as well as sexually based human rights of girls and women. We participated in a seminar of the ESMPU, Superior School of the Public Attorney Office, where we talked about the impacts of gender identity, policies on the human rights of women, homosexuals, children, and adolescents. In this presentation, we use the most relevant theories from different areas of knowledge to demonstrate the importance of sex as an axis of analysis of political and social relations between men and women. We explain how the concept of gender developed and practice of science, as well as on women's and homosexuals movements. We introduced WHRC and our statement. In general, the feedback was very positive. We emailed political representatives about prisons, sports, and women's political participation. We received some support responses, and our media team has already produced some videos for the campaign channel on YouTube. And in the first, we present the campaign to the Brazilian public. In the second, we talked about International Women's Day, the situation of girls and women in pandemic Brazil, and how our agendas are never a priority for left-wing parties. In the third, we approach Article 1 of the Declaration, where we explain the importance of defining in law the women are female human beings. And we are already organizing the next video. When sharing a press or release about Maya's case with a left-wing editor, we received an offense response, and this situation served to make public the treatment that the left has given to women. We just released a requirement about bedrooms, changing rooms, and exclusive spaces regarding to an appeal of a security guard sentenced by discrimination on the basis of gender identity, for forbidding a man of entering the women's toilet. We are working on developing our website that will possibly be launched in August.
Why did you get involved personally? Like, what made you, and what gives you the energy to do this? Because we're all doing it, I think pretty much all of us unpaid.
Energy, comes from the other women who are together, me, and after I hear a friend, I am 22. It's important because in my school, some teachers talked with me about feminism, and I understand this is 2 women, 4 women, and after I understand I need use my energy for try to make the future of children's better than now, and it's that why my energy comes to this sentence.
Yeah. That's fantastic. It's so great.